Good evening, Colorado Buffalo fans, Buff Nation, everybody. What is going on? Hope you're having a great weekend. We have long snapper Jacob Politte transferring out of Colorado. What does this mean? I'll break it down for you. Y'all be sure to hit that like. And of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments. This might be a little bit shorter of a stream, but definitely would appreciate y'all's thoughts and support. We're on our way to 7,000 subscribers. And here we go, guys. You could probably tell today and yesterday kind of took a little bit of a hiatus, had to relax, had a lot of other stuff going on. But this afternoon, I went to go see Dune Part 2. Highly recommend it. But anyways, when I got out of that movie, I saw on Twitter that Jacob Politte has entered or will be entering the transfer portal. And what does this mean? It might come as a surprise maybe to some of y'all. I know that a lot of us probably don't pay attention to who's on the field when special teams is going on, but Jacob Politte actually didn't log one snap for the Buffs this year at the long snapper position. And so when some people might try and overreact to this or might use this as some sort of reason to say, oh, the Jackson State players, now they're leaving Coach Prime, stuff like that. I just want to dismiss that. Jacob Politte was in my opinion, a pretty good long snapper group. But Cameron Warchuck was our starting long snapper this year, and I thought that he did a very good job. I can only remember one snap offhand that was a bad snap, and he had no awful snaps, snaps that went over anybody's head or anything like that. There was that one against, I want to say it was against Oregon State, where it was a little high on one of Mata's longer attempts. But so you guys might be wondering what's happening now that Jacob Politte's here or gone. Really, it's just business as usual. He was not the starter here. We got Cameron Warchuck again. Let me kind of pull this up here a little bit, and I can kind of break down to you guys where the rest of our long snapper future and room looks like right now. I think it's pretty interesting. But I guess before I dive into this, I did want to remind myself to say this is that, man, I really did enjoy hearing Jacob specifically on the show that he did with DNVR at the beginning of the season. That was fantastic. I imagine that this young man is just transferring out because he wants to snap somewhere, and as you should. You only have a finite amount of time to play football. You only have a finite amount of eligibility or years of eligibility to play. And so I would imagine that he's going to try and find a school that he can go start for. Now, I will say, if his NFL dreams do not come to fruition, which I mean, they only do for a very small percentage of people that play football, I really do think he has a future in media if he wants to go that route. I totally forgot what his major is. Maybe I'll look that up here in a minute, but really well spoken. He handled himself tremendously on the mic, and I'm still going to be following him to see not only where he goes with his football career, but what he decides to do after football, because I feel like if he were to open up a YouTube channel or start a podcast, something like that, could be really, really interesting. So I just want to say, Jacob, I appreciate your time on the Buffs. Bummed you weren't able to get on the field, but that is just the nature of business, right? And going to be rooting for Jacob wherever he goes. Now, in case you're wondering, who the heck was taking our snaps? Who was snapping the ball on special teams? It's Cameron Warchuck. He's been here for a while now. 126 snaps for us this past year. Again, I can't remember outside of one high snap any terrible or bad snaps that we got. I thought he did a very good job for us this year. Long snapper was one of those positions on special teams that I wasn't nervous about. One of the few spots on the line that I was not nervous about this year, right? So I think Cameron Warchuck did a very good job. I would assume that he's going to be the starting long snapper going into the 2024 season as well. But we do have some other interesting guys behind him in case you weren't familiar with them. First, we have Camden Dempsey. I believe he logged 1 or 2 snaps this past year. 6'2", 255 pounds. That's great size. To compare, Cameron Warchuck, 6 foot, 245 pounds. I think Jacob Politte was a little bit smaller than these guys. I think he was closer to like 5'11", 225 pounds or so. But anyways, Camden Dempsey, local guy here from Lakewood. If you're not familiar where that is, that's just west of Denver. And yeah, so he's got a few more years of eligibility, redshirt sophomore after this year. So he's got 2 more years left. And then somebody that I think that we should keep an eye on for the long term is IMG graduate, Miami transfer last year, Gabe Landers. He was a redshirt freshman, a little bit smaller, you see, 205, but of course, you need your long snapper not only to be able to snap the ball, but to move down the field quickly because you'll get in there with some of the tackling on, for instance, punt returns. So, yeah, didn't see any action this past year, and he's got 3 more years left to play. So right now, this is kind of what the special teams room looks like right now at the long snapper position. Again, I think. I led with the title of the video because I'm sure a lot of you guys were just wondering, well, what's happening now? It's just business as usual, to be honest. We should have Cameron Warchuck, snapping the ball for us on special teams again this year. And I thought he did a really solid job for us. So, yeah, but I think that somebody to keep an eye on is Gabe Landers, seeing how he develops. Anybody that's coming from IMG, we know this, is somebody to keep your eye on. So really like that as well. Right now we're 3 deep at the long snapper position. Maybe we bring in somebody else that, to add to that room. But my guess is Jacob just wanted to go somewhere where he wanted to play. And that is totally reasonable. So wishing him well. I know that this is probably a little bit shorter of a stream, but anybody that's trying to tell you like, man, this is terrible news for the Buffs, or Jackson State guys are now leaving Coach Prime and all this stuff. He just wants to play. He just wants to play. That's how I look at it. But again, Dennis, everybody else that might be coming in here a little bit late, Cameron Warchuck was our starting long snapper this year, 126 snaps. Jacob Politte didn't see 1 snap at the long snapper position. So this is something where I think a lot of people assume that he was the one snapping the ball because, he'd be in the videos, he was doing interviews. Again, I felt like he did a fantastic job when DNVR hosted him on the show months ago. And I really do feel like he has a future in media or content creation if he wants to take that route. But yeah, let's not forget Cameron Warchuck is the guy here. He's going to remain the guy here. I thought he did a very good job this past season, and I am praying to the football gods for a great year on special teams. Now, I did want to say too, I noticed on Twitter, man, I forget who tagged me. Somebody tagged me in this, and they said, Dave, Mata heard you and Rob being critical of him. Look, he just made this 54-yard field goal. Hey, that's great. That is great. I got a kick out of that. Mata, continue to lift those weights, do those squats. We need you hitting 65 in practice, before the start of the year, because right now how things are looking, we need Mata to be kicking those touchbacks for us. He's got the accuracy. Now we just need that leg for him to be kicking touchbacks for us, because it's inexcusable for us not to have a touchback every single kickoff at 5,400 something feet above sea level. it's like 200 feet above where, Mile High Stadium is at. So it is inexcusable. We need a kicker to just boot that thing through the field goal uprights every single kickoff. So yeah. But again, just to clarify this, he's going somewhere where he can play. Right now, we got Cameron Warchuck, who's doing a really good job, and I would not be surprised if one of these guys, like Gabe Landers, is one of these long snappers in waiting. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Now, you are bringing a good point up here, Bodie. In bigger news, Xavier Weaver isn't injured. He's waiting for a pro day to run routes and run the 40-yard dash, kick some ass. Special chip emoji right there. Beautiful. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a separate video on this on Xavier Weaver right now. Obviously, he is our top buff that has the best chance to get drafted. Right now, I'm a little worried about his draft stock. Not going to lie. Of course, the Senior Bowl, not getting invited to that was kind of a head scratcher. Didn't do him any favors. And with him not doing much of the testing at the combine, that's never great. And tested out shorter and lighter than what his measurements were here at CU. You wonder why that is. I don't know. But, man, he needs to have a stellar pro day right now, because I feel like in one of the deepest positions in the draft this year, he's not doing himself any favors right now. And I am a little worried that he's right now approaching kind of undrafted territory. I think the NFL.com, who was putting those things together, had him ranked as like the 27th best receiver. So that should be kind of right on the edge of getting drafted. So, yeah, it's not looking good right now. You wonder why he didn't run. It's just a bad look. I don't care if he was just nursing something or if it wasn't a serious injury or anything like that, but it's never a good look when you just choose not to run and you're not somebody, for instance, like the projected number 1 overall pick like Caleb Williams, where you have the luxury of deciding, you know what, I'm not going to throw. I don't think Drake May or Jane Daniels threw either, if I remember correctly. And usually you see guys kind of sit out that already have that top 5 or top 10 draft status already there. And then you saw a lot of the other first-round prospects do the 40-yard dash, do all the different drills, all of that. Wondering what's going on with Zay. You wonder if I'm just being honest, I don't feel like he's got a good agent, because with the year that he had this year at Colorado, being our most dependable receiver, with the eyes that were on him, you think an agent could have come in there and gotten him into the Senior Bowl. You think an agent would be able to help him get a little bit more steam moving towards April. It seems like he's just losing stock right now, and that is a little bit concerning, because I do want to see us get a guy drafted for the first time here in at least a couple of years, if I remember correctly. So y'all let me know your thoughts on that. Yeah, it is a bummer. It is a bummer, and it does raise a lot of questions on who's giving him this sort of advice. Yeah, if y'all seen the wide receivers of the combine run and catch yesterday, Xavier Weaver will not get drafted. And yeah, things again. I just thought come November of this past season, I thought, wow, man, this guy's a surefire draft pick. And day 2, I was even saying day 2 at that point. Man, could I have not been more wrong right now? I feel like just momentum is going the wrong direction for Zay. So I feel like he needs to run lights out at the CU Pro Day. Sorry, I'm battling a sneeze here. He needs to run lights out. I would expect him to run a 4 or like a 4.5, something like that, right? 4.5. But if he can somehow get into the low 4.4s, then I think that really does help him. Now there is a little bit of Like, what do they usually add? Like 0.05, something like that, uh, to the pro day times, because they're usually a little bit more favorable with when they're clocking the guys. So yeah, he's going to have to run well above average, and I think what people were expecting for him to run at the combine for him to really make up some steam. But 169 pounds, 6 foot. Why'd you lose 10 pounds and how'd you shrink? What's going on? Jay's saying that Zay will drop a vlog about the combine soon. I'm glad. Man, I need some answers right now, but it doesn't seem like he was hurt or anything like that. At least I didn't see anything like that. And I'm glad he had some good talks with some scouts. I mean, that's better than nothing. That's the least he should be doing if he's not doing any of the drills, is at least talking with those guys. So we'll see. But man, I'm pretty bummed right now. I'm sorry that's not the most positive take right now, because I really do want him to get drafted. It's just not looking good. Unspoken PNW. Feel free to catch the replay, but to catch y'all up, Jacob Politte, I think he's just going somewhere where he can snap on the field and play. He didn't snap one snap for us this past year. Cameron Warchuck will continue to be our starting long snapper, and I thought he did a great job this year. They're saying he lost weight because he's hurt and couldn't lift. Dang. What's Neckpo saying? Call your brother, make sure he's all right. I hope he's not in a what? Is something going on with Rawhide? I'll be able to check in on him soon. I've been enjoying the Raw tunes. I like how I'm the generic white guy cartoon on part of Raw tunes. I think that's pretty funny. So a little bit shorter of a stream today, guys, but special teams at the snapping position still in great hands. I still feel like we have a very good room. We got 3 guys that I feel like are promising, 2 guys of which saw the field last year. And again, our starting long snapper, he was not the issue with any of the problems that we saw on special teams last year. I think he's going to do a great job. So best of luck, Jacob. Really appreciate your time again here on the Buffs. And I'll be following you wherever you go, man. You're a really likable guy. So, yeah, definitely wishing him well, Shirley. All right, y'all. I am going to get to it. I will be back tomorrow. Y'all be sure to hit that like and consider joining me and us on our journey to 7,000 subs. Appreciate it, guys. And go Buffs.